Welcome to Labor Lounge Podcast. I'm Anthony Abrantes, Assistant Executive Secretary Treasurer of the Eastern Atlantic States Regional Council of Carpenters, the Carpenters Union.
And I'm Cyndie Williams, Executive Director of the CCT. Together as your co-hosts, we'll explore the world of organized labor, bringing you behind-the-scenes stories and insights from inspiring union leaders, dedicated partners, and community change makers. In each episode, we dive into authentic conversation to uncover what unions are really about beyond the headlines and the myths.
Whether you're new to the movement or a union ally, our conversation, showcasing diverse voices and real-life stories, will explore union hurdles, triumphs, labor's rich history, its role in workforce development, all while shedding light on how unions create lasting change and foster economic growth and creating generational wealth.
Join us as we build a broader coalition, elevate future generations, and showcase how unions contribute to creating a positive cultural legacy.
Tune in, get informed, and find out how organized labor is making a difference.
Today, we welcome our guest, Michael V. Fina, founder and executive director of the ULA Network and the ULA Network Charitable Foundation. Michael brings more than 25 years of experience in finance, relationship management, and business development, and has built the ULA Network into a media-driven workforce development platform focused on supporting and promoting union labor and the communities it serves. Through strategic storytelling and digital media, the ULA Network connects unions, industry partners, school systems, and workforce organizations, highlighting the values of union careers, including family-sustaining wages, healthcare, retirement benefits, and long-term economic stability. In addition to media, Michael leads workforce development initiatives in partnership with school districts, career and technical education programs, and union apprenticeship training centers. Through the ULA Network Charitable Foundation, he also leads initiatives such as the Vets for Vets Community Construction Project, mobilizing union volunteers to support veterans through hands-on community-based work. His work sits at the intersection of media, workforce development, and economic opportunity, with a mission not just to tell the story of union labor, but to actively create access to it. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you, Cyndie.
Powerhouse bio right there.
Woo! Who's that guy?
You're hired.
Who is that guy?
Finance, media, workforce development, a little bit of everything, right? Yeah.
How did I get here? How did this happen?
How did we get here?
How did we get here? Exactly.
Exactly. It's a pleasure to know you, Mike.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Cyndie.
Pleasure to work with you.
Yes.
Well,
absolutely.
it's good to see you. With what a lot of Cyndie just read off, I guess, how did you bring ULA Network together, kind of bringing intersecting in media content with career development that's really focused on like storytelling that we've never seen before? We all do great work, but we don't tell a good story. What kind of brought that about?
Listen, again, you may know my background a little bit more than most, but I was introduced to labor through the Carpenters Union. My background and everything that my first start was with the labor. So, we talk about finance. My entree into the union labor space was through First Trade Union Bank, which was a carpenter-owned bank. Learned the politics and understanding how labor works and communicates with public sector as well as the building trades, and really had the pleasure and good fortune to meet with so many different union locals, benefit funds, or associations, and their training centers, which for me are the universities, the breeding ground of the next generation of where these skilled trades people come from. COVID happened. Career took a complete shift and change. I lost my dad during COVID, and we'll get into some things in regards to how vets got, the whole vets program got connected. But being stuck at home, coming back from a building trades conference, COVID happens. My wife gets sick. My father gets sick. Labor continues to work and keep America running, essential workers. And I'm in my co-op building just doing the pots and pans, just celebrating, all the nurses and everybody that's doing their jobs. Well, I'm giving out SBA loans to training centers, millions of dollars, forgivable funding to keep operations running within the union labor space as well. When my father got sick, labor took care of my family. It was a Teamster group. It was an attorney, Mary Alba. I'm in his backyard filling out paperwork to get things running. And when I look at what's the most important thing in life, again, labor, this is my family. So being stuck at home and just watching these particular death tolls, I turned the TV off and said, let's celebrate the people that have supported me. Just showcase what they're doing day to day. Because as we all know, there's power in numbers, and in any union organization that cash flows in its membership. So for me to be able to figure out a way to give back to labor that's always supported me, if I could support, educate, and promote union labor, which is our motto, by inspiring, educating, and showcasing what labor can do across industry, as well as even in the public sector. It's so incredible because I've grown up in Brooklyn. I have friends that went one path and they become cops, court, and firemen. Other ones went to the carpentry business and all other trades. Now they're all in the 50s, ready to retire. And I'm like, I'm in a whole other world of life now. I'm like starting a whole other thing over. But when we talk about showcasing labor, for me, going through these training centers and seeing the inspiration of these apprentices learning their career, honing their skills, and knowing that this is going to be a career that they're going to have, and they could be transferable cross country, different industries, is really important to me. And I want to be able to give back to labor, to promote all these opportunities. Yeah. And again, for me, as a bank and finance background, we talked about that's the cash flow. So we want to inspire, educate, and draw that particular education to these particular initiatives. And like never before, there's such a need for vocational careers and people in these skilled trade opportunities now. So it's a perfect synergy, and all the bad that's happened. Me and my wife now, this is our mission, this is our life, and working with organizations and associations, and now even the nonprofit sector, to drive that workforce development. Good, that's the cash flow. That's the next generation.
Yeah. So speaking of workforce development, what are some of the misconceptions that you believe are still out there that you connect on behalf of workforce to, the general public, on behalf of unions and union workforce?
There's a few. I mean, again, you look at, these aren't just jobs. These are true careers. I mean, you're getting the benefits, healthcare, all these, the pension that you're contributing to, just like, again, we're lifetime students. It's like a gym out. You get out what you put into it. And you see those little memes that go around there. It's like, again, your union card is like your gym membership, and just like I mentioned. So those misconceptions about, it just being a job and I'll just try to find something. These are careers where you have the ability, especially as a union member, to go to the training centers, to hone your skills, to get the certifications, to up your level of pay scale. And the better you are, again, you talk about that, I can't find a job. No, if you're good, you'll never be out of work. And I look at that as an artwork too, because I'm going through so many different trades. As a carpenter, you could make so many different things and sell it on Etsy and just have a side job and just build. And for me, I just get inspired of that, just thinking about the creativity, the artistic ability that all these trade people have. And for me, I just want to be able to showcase that, because as AI generates and just keeps compounding and jobs are just getting repositioned, these trade opportunities are still there. And we look at the Googles, the Microsoft, all the other work, the construction technology, the AI and the virtual reality training that's integrated now into these training centers. This is where people get excited. I mean, because I get excited because I'm like, this is really cool stuff.
Yeah.
And again, we're trying to train the next generation, the younger generation, to say these are career steps that you want to be in. Again, me at 52, I was Wolf of Wall Street. How do you get into these particular stockbroker careers? That's where the money is. Step back, do it all over again. I would be almost retired and have a really good pension in a trade career that I could have started.
Yeah, and you'd be running a Labor Lounge podcast.
Exactly. Yeah. We got the ULA podcast, Labor Lounge, all mission together. But this is all ways to promote these particular objectives. And again, I'm just so proud to know both of you, because through the course of my career, I've seen you grow up from business agent, business rep, into the position that you have, as well as you, Cyndie, with CCT. I mean, this is the bridging the gap, educating and working with these signatory contractors to showcase their skills.
Yeah.
And, again, just driving here, I was sitting in the parking lot just thinking about some of the things we've been talking about today. It's like, you can't look left or right without something being constructed from the construction industry and how that plays a whole role. So if you're a young generation, you just look down the street and say, oh, here's a road, here's a stop sign, lights. How does that apply? And you look at the IBWs and the carpentries and the road, the laborers. Yeah,
you got to connect the dots. We take that for granted.
Yeah.
You do a lot of storytelling, and a lot of the stuff that I've seen, you showcase, like, to your point, it's a career, right? How does that change somebody's lives? But in the world we live in now, where technology, media, content is so important, What platforms do you use to kind of showcase the industry about the careers that are actually accessible to people?
We hit them all. I mean, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, our website. So try to hit every multiple platforms, and there's a different viewership for different, from Facebook to Instagram, you may have some different, age ranges. Then how do you customize or fine tune for each individual one? So again, the world of social media, something may go viral. You look at what's connecting with the audience, and then how do you want to be able to push that information or target that particular space or organizations or the younger generation by utilizing social media most effectively.
Yeah. With all the folks that you deal with around the region, from whether it's public sector, private sector, building trades, law enforcement, whatever, are you seeing a demand for people wanting to get into the blue collar industry again?
Like never before. And for me, again, just in what we've built out over the past couple of years and just getting some of the visibility, my wife, my friends, again, all my friends now, they got kids in their 20s now, right? They're ready to graduate, or they're just in high school. They're coming to me. It's like, do you know somebody at this local, or they're interested in getting into this apprenticeship? Never heard this before. Past 2 years, it's like now they're coming to me and reaching out. So, do you know these people? Do you know this group? I see you interviewed this organization. And it's really refreshing. It's exciting. And like I mentioned, the union labor training centers are the best in class. I mean, you talk about like the Lifetime Fitness or like the Equinox of gyms. These are the best in class organizations with the most highly skilled training instructors that are really certifying and training that next generation. And again, I know I got to get back to the gym. I've been working too hard. I don't go as much as I used to, but just see if you can get on that path and be consistent and have that work ethic, you could do so much. And you know who the shining stars are when you go to some training centers. You could see the people and their work ethic, just learning and having that appetite to excel is really exciting for me. I want to showcase those people because those are the ones that are going to, again, you learn from your peers. It's always great. You're a labor leader, but are you going to directly impact somebody that's 20 years old, or is it another 20-year-old peer that just went through the program and say, hey, I just did this. We can make this happen. And know that there's financial benefits of that as well. I'm sure we'll go into like even the accreditation from like college credits now too.
Yeah, I was going to say, what I want to hear you talk about is your sort of, you talked about COVID, you talked about AI and how it's changing the demographic of workforce. We are trying to get a younger apprentice in. We're looking to connect to those people coming out of high school. Our average age of an apprentice, and we say it is 29 years old. We're trying to move that number to a younger age. What are you doing to connect to schools, to CTE programs, and how does that affect your everyday messaging?
And that's a great question, Cyndie. And New York City District Council of Carpenters, Joe Geiger. Again, all these career fairs that go on too, you bring in different high schools in just to get an overview of what these careers could look like. And this, each trade has some diversification. Carpenters have multiple, from pile drivers to, millwrights to, floor layers, all the gamut. I went to an open house, did some video content, some interviews, just know the whole, the gamut group. Joe introduced me to Jim Shoppy Foster, which was the training director. He's like, talk to this guy, help him out, see what you could do. He was the training instructor for Grady High School, which is a CTE high school in Brooklyn. So we got connected, got a chance to go to Grady, see his class, teaching the class, promoting those particular objectives. Again, these high schools want to go on field trips. So as you can help to arrange those particular field trips to give that next generation an overview of what these careers could look like, that's where we really started to hum up. And then the STEM programs now too, when you're looking at all the technology aspects in STEM and how that applies to construction technology, there's an overlap there. And again, I'm fortunate to work with the IBW. So you look at the wind farms and just electric in general, and how does that apply to the construction industry? The younger generation today, everything's electric. Your phones, your chargers, you go crazy if you're at 10% on your phone. You're like, where's the plug? But to get an understanding of actually how that actually applies to real world and being able to take advantage of those things is really, really cool. So, for me, working with some of the CTE high schools, working with the training centers and being able to bridge that gap, having conversations with the United Federation of Teachers and some other associations to say, how do we bring in these particular the younger generation, get them put together, a skilled trades camp, an expo. You guys do that really well. And some of the organizations will have those particular expos. We want to do more of that. Bring that information and that excitement and all the creativity and those opportunities to the forefront to get the younger generation excited about that. And again, they may want to go to college, but like we know, and what we want to be able to promote is you can get your accreditation through a 4-year apprenticeship with some of the organizations that are out there, like the Roman colleges of the world, and say, how do we get more colleges in suit or in line, and all the math that you're learning through, a carpentry apprentice, how does that apply to the accreditation? So that if your mom really wanted you to get your college degree, you could still do that, but yet have a totally different skill set.
Yeah.
And we want to make Ma proud.
You want to make Ma proud, of course, without a doubt, and that. But
so while you're going around, because I know you're everywhere, you're making content, social, website, podcasting, how do you bring all that content together and actually translate it into workforce development opportunities? Like, are kids looking at this? Who's seeing this?
Yes. I mean, and what's just really cool, some proud moments for me too, is just, again, through social media, getting those DMs, the interest, the connections, getting them connected, through our networks. I'm saying this person was really interested. He hit me up on, a post that we did, saw interest in that, got them into a pre-apprenticeship opportunity. So again, that's before your full step. It's just like an entree of a couple of weeks to say, is this something for me? Got through that, got to the next level, and now has got their card. And to see that we were able to do that through some social posts, through some interviews with some peers that they've had, is the most, rewarding thing for me. And again, our foundation is really built upon, working collectively with some of those, the school districts, the schools in general, the associations, the veteran associations, which I'm sure we'll get into as well. But these are all feeders. And again, if we're trying to find good paying jobs, opportunities for the next generation, these are the careers that people should be really excited about or get some understanding about. And I think we have a really good understanding of how that all works. Again, me being in the banking world, the dollar touches everything. So from when we talk about finance, healthcare, and all the perks you get as a union member that have been negotiated for you, it's still that trade that you have, that union card that you hold, and the benefits and the skill set that you have that you could take anywhere, which again just gets me excited. And
you have a lot of irons in the fire, and you mentioned vets, and I know you have Vets for Vets, which has been one of your passions. Tell us how that came about and what the impact that's going to bring into the community.
Yeah, I mean, we all know about helmets to hard hats and transitioning programs. It's really dear to me, and from Martin at the head for New York Helmets on a national level, and Ali Tranquil and Caitlin and Mike that run the New York district. When I lost my dad, again, he was a Vietnam veteran, and he only took his benefits 5 years before his death. My father was a dry cleaner. My mother was a Catholic school teacher. So they don't know the perks and benefits of a pension. And the healthcare that he paid out of pocket for, I'm the oldest of 4. So when everything happened and when he wound up getting sick during COVID, and friends were like, why aren't we taking these VA benefits, or why aren't you doing these other things? There was some pre-existing conditions he had before COVID, but just to know the GI Bill, helmets to hearts, and the programs that are available to veterans, and because it's been ingrained in my life through some of the training centers. When I lost my dad too, I'm like, I know this path, I know what these benefits are, and it's a disservice for me not to share this information for the better benefit of veterans that are coming back and trying to find careers. These VFWs that veterans hang out in and consummate and talk. Some of these VFWs don't even realize that there's a Helmets to Hard Hats program which direct access into these particular careers. And we had an event just this past Thursday, little under 100 people that were attended. We had the VFWs there. There's an event tonight, which we'll be going to. But to know that we're able to get some VFWs to come to these particular programs, create these connections, and then hopefully get people on that particular path for a really good paying career and an opportunity. is really where my job and my life is about. And to be able to do it with my wife, she worked for a hedge fund. When she left her career during COVID, she wanted to jump on board and help me. She knew a lot of our friends and all of you from past experiences, and to have her working with me is really the coolest thing. I mean, we'd probably be divorced if it wasn't the case, because we travel so much and we work 24/7. But getting this off the ground, having that foundation, which is where my heart is, and this is why we have the media company, really, is to promote those objectives on the veteran side.
Yep.
And then we talk about Vets for Vets. So what happened was, once that lost my dad, finding ways to support labor in a much bigger, broader way, was working with the Department of Veteran Services, and they asked me to apply for which was called the Joseph P. Dwyer Grant. And one of those initiatives was community construction projects. I was sitting on a board, Black Veterans for Social Justice, large nonprofit organization, do a lot of social service work for veterans. And they had multiple properties, and they're like, well, these properties need remediation. We might have to sell one off. I'm like, I work with every building trade in this, New York City of New York. How do we not connect them to see if they can help out? And then that's where that micro grant came into place, and how Vets for Vets was initially started. Local 3's Veterans Club is really strong in New York, and we're trying to figure out how do we replicate that club for other trades that want to get connected. Because, again, all these large organizations, 43,000 members with the carpenters, you may not know another carpenter that's in that particular mix, but when you bring in these clubs, these groups, to really bring them down, women's networks, you could really start to get connected a little bit more in a deeper way. And to get connected with Local 3's Veterans Club, they were housed in a VFW that needed remediation. Go, let's start here. Let's start with the VFWs. They know they could do minor repairs. Let's figure out what those particular costs are, and try to create a conveyor belt of, let's get volunteers that are veterans that are going through the program in an apprenticeship. They're getting paid to learn. Maybe find a retiree or journey person that can help, quarterback some of this in motion. And then work with a cross industry where a carpenter can work with an electrician or a plumber and really do some good work in the community. And I look at it, it touches every base, from community, CRA type credits, from peer-to-peer support, community development, and just showcasing what union labor does, because you do so much for the community, and you might not pound your chest as much as you like. You just kind of do it because you do it. But for me, I want to showcase that work in the best possible way, because it needs to be recognized. And your signatory contractors that invest in all these particular members to do really good work, they need to be recognized. And I think in the world of media, you have members that are vlogging their world, and those are the next generation of organizers that we want to showcase, and then just kind of like collaborate, connect them all, and then put together a big, melting pot of like energy, excitement, and opportunity.
Yeah. I honor the fact that you're living out your father's legacy just by taking care of the veterans. And, we find that some of the most employable folks are coming out of the military, and, they know how to get out of bed every morning. They know how to work hard. They're so disciplined. And sometimes it's just a little bit of mentoring and tweaking that allows them the space to feel like this has been their home, even though they've been serving for many years. So appreciate that. It sounds to me, that you're really acting as a connector for industry, for partnerships, for community organizations. And to your point, our volunteers and trades are out there on the streets, out and about, working all the time, without chirping the fact that they're out there in community and doing these volunteer projects. So we appreciate an entity like yours that actually shows, the messaging that we take care of community, that we're out there connecting to folks that need it most. And, I really appreciate you doing that.
Listen, there's, you think about, we just have so many contacts. We have a pretty large network, from just the course of our career in the construction industry, in the union labor space, all the vendors and suppliers that play within this whole ecosystem. And I just sit back and I'm like, well, how do the educators not know about these particular careers? You would think everybody was connected.
People do silos.
Schools, the universities, and even the high schools not have any idea about like which down the street.
It's so true.
And we're seeing that change that's happening, like to train the trainers, train the counselors. And I know that this is just, you're seeing it, but it's really starting to hum up. And just to be, affiliated and associated with it, and to have a platform to work alongside, the carpenters and all the trades to be able to promote their agenda.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's just it. Like, I feel like media is just so tarnished right now, right? And people have this view of media, and I feel like, you're bringing such a positive messaging for the next generation of workforce. How do you feel media is going to play that part of positive energy moving forward?
But listen, I mean, there's always a fight between union, non-union, the strikes, the rallies and things like that go on. For me, if I look at the next generation, do they want to jump into a fight or like a rally right off the top? I think the next generation need to understand that these are really incredible careers that they could be artistically, connected to, and find a real career path, not just a job that they can enjoy, and understand why these fights or these strikes happen in many ways, because you're fighting for better wages and opportunities. It can't be a race to the bottom. Everybody's trying to make money. I know we're in a crazy world right now, but you can't have 20 people living in a one family house just to survive, where it's expensive to live in New Jersey, New York, or any of the states today. So a fair and livable wage, it should be just part of the whole construction equation. And we talk about this too. It's like, oh, well, the supplies, there's costs, there's insurance, and all these other variables, but like the labor portion, without the bodies, nothing gets done. And you want to have the best in class. You don't have like job overruns. And if you're working with a great contractor and these jobs are big enough, the workflow, the cycle.
Yeah.
And for me, it's just how do I play a role in supporting the next generation member, showcasing those signatories, the education, because it runs. There's just so much. And
it's a great story to tell too.
We keep going. Again, the financial aspect of all this. Again, my background in banking, like the benefits, and how do you? We talked about this too. Is like at the training center, getting that journey person that's a rock star that has been working with 10 other guys or women throughout the course of their career, and say, how do I start my own business now? Like, what's the next evolution of me as a union member? Like, how do I get to the next level? What do I want to do? And what you've been able to do in putting some of these additional programs together,
yes,
to showcase you need to get this insurance. If you really want to do this, we're going to help you get to that level. And those things just don't happen. Again, it's through these joint apprenticeship training facilities and union labor organizations saying we want to make sure that we can help these people grow. And again,
putting the structure in place to help people grow. Yeah, it's
continuously building
critical
on that structure and that foundation of what we're here to do. And again, for me, just to be able to play a role and look at my career, like I said, as a banker, just rolling into the trades, and now trying to be a real influencer and educator on what it is that all these careers could look like. It's really cool.
Coming full circle, is there one story, moment in time that you can tell us about that kind of really talks about why this all matters and why you're doing it?
Again, it's really why the foundation was set up. Like I said, everyone could post pictures and do different things, and maybe just have the foundation for me is like the foundation. Being able to educate people on these veteran careers and seeing that we're actually making a difference, raising funds and be able to give scholarships out through an organization that we've developed, and really trying to build. Again, who am I? We built out a nonprofit organization that's raised some good money right now, and we're trying to deploy it in the best possible way, a meaningful way, and then create these particular programs and these boot camps or the skilled trades camps to really showcase the work. Is the biggest joy. And to your point, what's been the biggest thing for me is establishing that foundation, aligning myself with the Department of Veteran Services and organizations like yourself, and being able to sit here. It's like this is one of the biggest honors for me. Look at my career. Like now I'm working alongside labor to really promote these agendas.
Yep.
Is the most incredible thing. And then seeing people through what we've done actually get that job.
Yep.
And go through those training centers. We've done from the Teamsters, again, into like the bricklayers and other organizations right now. Wow. And we're just getting started. We're trying to scale as a small business organization as well. It's like you want to scale with the right A team.
Yep.
Unfortunately, through the course of this growth period, you lose friends. Your circle becomes a little bit smaller. and you just try to stay focused on what the overall goal is. There's a lot of money that's out there. I want to be financially successful. I want to do really good.
Yeah.
I want to, again, be able to retire at some point. But the foundation and our nonprofit will be a legacy that will live on forever as long as we can keep, continuously doing that good work and aligning those particular workforce development initiatives and veteran transitioning opportunities or this, community service work, put that in place. And when we have the connections and contacts to do it, it's just aligning, the funding and those particular jobs in place. Like I think I was mentioned to you, like the nonprofit, it's a business.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It really is a business. And if you can get that grant funding, it's just like a job. This is what your job is to do today.
Mhm.
And if a workforce development grant is to do this job, then this is what you want to be able to do.
Yeah.
And for me, that's like, why I get really excited, because I can see the excitement into some of these schools, or the schools that have no idea what opportunities are there. We're bringing some really cool, exciting careers to their students. And they're going to get a chance to see all this that goes on, which is
well, there's not too many industries, and this is probably one of them where you actually can see the success from beginning to end, whether it's as a person, as a business, as a foundation. That's why storytelling is important, because we live in this silo where we talk amongst each other, talk about all this great work we're doing, but outsiders have no idea what's actually happening. And that's why many folks don't understand. That's why what you're doing with media content, what we're trying to do here, your podcast, it's extremely important. Cumbersome, time consuming, but extremely important.
Of course.
yeah. And
It's true. Things like this, I can just send this podcast off to a school to listen, and they become engaged. They understand what we're trying to move, what we're trying to push.
Yeah.
And it's just easy. It's easy deliverables in the media space, and it's timeless, because this is going to be our story 10 years from now too.
Absolutely. And I think these conversations, along with some of that B-roll that actually showcase, look at this from here to here, like from the ground up, and now you have full like something that was built out. And to see that time lapse of like, the growth is really where people can get excited about. So it's not, again, like not just talking the talk, you're walking the walk.
Yep.
And showcasing these particular, developments that are being done. And if it's a construction job in Atlantic City, that's like, wow, look what's been put out there. Or things in the city in New York. I mean, it's just really cool to see. And you hear it from everybody. Like if you're in the construction business, I built that, right?
Yeah.
Take a look at this down the street.
Yeah.
I put this together.
Yeah. People take pride in what they build.
And they should. And a lot of the stuff here, if you were to pull everything off this particular wall, what's behind the wall is really like the inner workings of how this building actually gets done.
Yep.
And I'm like,
it's a sense of pride. Yeah.
It's a sense of pride. And, and for me, I just keep getting excited, because I'm like, I know what trade does that one. I know what trade people here.
You learned a lot. That's for sure.
I learned a lot. Again, well, this is my life.
Yeah.
And again, it's just trying to, fine tune it, creating a better workflow, like from a time management standpoint, to make sure that we're doing all the right things, and doing it well. And again, just to be here, to be able to promote what we're doing alongside, all the trades, alongside the carpenters. Again, I would not be here if it wasn't for people like yourself. I mean, that, and we've done an interview a while back as well. I mean, I'm learning every day from people like you. And then, like I said, I get the privilege of going to these training centers and just getting pumped up.
Yeah.
Because nobody gets to see, you want to showcase that. That's like, that's the facility.
Yeah. Well, listen, we appreciate all the work you're doing outside of what we're trying to do here. Because you've been really showcasing and doing a great job of storytelling and what the industry's been doing. So we appreciate the partnership, the friendship, and we appreciate you really being on today.
Thanks for being on, Mike.
That's it. All right. No problem. Absolutely, man. This is great. And I appreciate it. Cyndie,
Always a
you're
pleasure.
the best. Thank you very much.